Welcome back to another edition of the Monday Night Football. A very special edition indeed today, as you already know. We'll be talking about Gambia participation in the Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. We already know the group in which Gambia is as everybody dub it, is the group of death, of course, that Gambia is participating in the AFCON in Ivory Coast. Tonight, I have Yero So right here with me, and then we also have, Coach SAMBA Jau, who will be joining us live from America. We'll be also discussing with him. We'll also see some of his, what is his reaction, and also he can also give us an insightful into the Gambia, versus Senegal game, which is going to be our first game in Ivory Coast. Yero, I would just say welcome to Monday Night Football.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and of course we thank all the wonderful listeners from wherever you, of course, watching us. We are saying it's a very, of course, nice evening, of course, talking about football, because that's what we love talking about, of course. And thanks for having me, and of course we will say keep on listening or for watching, as we will definitely bring you insightful stories in the game of football.
Yeah, today we'll be talking about, Gambia participation in the Africa Cup of Nations, of course. That is the back-to-back, that Gambia did it. People were doubting, whether we will, go back to the Africa Cup of Nations, because there are some nations, that went and then we are able to, go back, to the AFCON. But this time around, Gambia continued to write the history books. Yeah, but we will give the listeners an overview, of the group, in which we are. As you already know, we face Cameroon, we're going to face Senegal, and we're also going to face Guinea-Conakry. If you mention Guinea-Conakry and then you mention, Cameroon, minds goes back to the previous, Africa Cup of Nations. But if you talk about Senegal, we all know, mine goes back in Dakar. I was there in Dakar, when we drew, against them. We nearly qualified, to the AFCON, but at the end of the day, because of, CAF, regulation, we were able to, go to the AFCONs. But we also be giving them the head-to-head, between, Gambia and Senegal, because that's going to be, our first game. Gambia is going to play in Yamoussoukro.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well, interested, of course. Group. That is the group of that everyone will see in this, as far as this draw is concerned. But first and foremost, stage one have already been, we've moved from stage one. Why I said so is, when you go for an Africa or a competition per se, yes, and you qualify again, in the subsequent competition, that is stage one, which Gambia secured. That is fine. The other stage, of course, which Gambia need to work extra hard, because the bar is being raised, of course, last tournament. Exactly. They've gone, surprise of perhaps all African, all eyes were on the Gambia, until when they have to meet Cameroon, the host nation. You all know it's very difficult, and they crashed out. It was a scintillating performance from the Scorpions. Now they're coming again, but with a different test, with, of course, stronger football nations. Nations that have won the African Championship and know how it feels to play the African Cup of Nations. It's now another big test, a big hurdle, a mountain to climb for the Gambia, that is for the Scorpion, come January, because all these teams that we're seeing currently, Gambia, Senegal is playing Cameroon for a test game right now, as we are right now talking, and of course Guinea is also preparing. Yeah. So financially they are ahead of us. If you look at the preparation aspect of it, most of the time these nations know how to prepare better, and they will invest a lot of money ahead of better than the Gambia does. But whatever the case is, I know the most important game in that in this group would be for Gambia, would be Gambia versus Senegal. That is your first game in a round-robin tournament like this. your first game in the group stage counts a lot. Because if Gambia wins Senegal, there is great opportunity, whatever the case is. If they even don't qualify in that group, they can qualify part of the best, to be part of the best losers. Yeah. So it will be very, very important, and of course, it would be a very entertaining fixture for, if anything, is to come by between Gambia and Senegal.
All right. Well, we have Coach Samba Jao online. We will be engaging Coach Samba if he is online, so that we can also know what is the reaction of Coach Samba regarding, our draw, with Guinea-Conakry, of course with Senegal, and then with the Cameroon. Coach, welcome to Monday Night Football.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Coach, what is your reaction when the draw was made? Gambia in the group of death.
Well, I was excited, definitely. Unlike a lot of people who received it with some concerns, I was not that much concerned because I
Why?
am of the. Well, listen. It is called the group of death because Gambia is in it. We are no pushovers, and I think if anything, we have proven over and over again, especially of late, that we are one of the top teams in Africa. Now, when you live in the Gambia and you are a Gambian, sometimes we tend to underrate ourselves.
Yeah.
But look at from junior tournaments to our performance in the last Cup of Nations to even the qualifying rounds, the group that we were in
Yeah.
and qualified. So definitely we've been surprising people around the world. And what I've always asked people to do is look at the history of Gambia in tournaments. We have not done badly in tournaments. Any tournament that we play in, we've always done very, very well. So to me, I'm excited, and I'll go on a limb and tell you that we'll beat Senegal. There is absolutely no doubt about that.
Yeah, Coach, looking at the group, we have opponents, very strong opponent indeed. We've seen the defending champions, that is Senegal. We know that there is a big rivalry, between Gambia and Senegal. But at the same time, there are another lions, that is Cameroon. We met them in the last AFCON, and then unlucky for us, we were beaten by the Cameroon. And then we've also seen Guinea, who never expected that Gambia was going to beat them. But at the end of the day, we won. And I know that Guinea must have gone back and prepared well, and then knowing that they're going to face Gambia again. We have two big teams, that is Cameroon and Senegal.
Yeah, it's going to. That's true because if you go by history, these are some of the giants of African football. But that doesn't also mean that we are not going to be able to compete with them. One thing I can tell you though is, in as much as most Gambians are worried about those teams are also equally worried about the Gambia. Because if one thing is clear, is that I don't think anybody is going to take us for granted anymore because of what we are capable of doing. And even look at our game against Cameroon. I think we showed too much respect to Cameroon. I believed that if we had come out and played offensively, we would have gotten something out of the game. But again, the coach is the coach. He has his tactics and has his ways. It has been working for him, so I'm not going to go there. But it's going to be a tough order for everybody involved in this group. So that's why the first game against Senegal would be the key game. And I can see what happened in 2008 when Aziz Kornyang did it to them. It was almost 15 years ago because it was the 11th, I think, of October 2008.
Yeah.
I can see a repetition of that. And in fact, I believe that Minte would come out to be the star of the this thing, African Cup of Nations that is coming up.
Yeah, but watching
So the
our
Senegalese would have their hands
qualifiers.
full.
Yes, watching our qualifiers, tactically, do you think we can continue to play with the tactics that we are playing, knowing that we're playing bigger nation, more tougher nation, than the qualifiers?
I have my reservations about the tactics that the coach employed, but at the end of the day, he's been using them. He's been getting results because definitely you can say anything you want to say about Tom, but results have been happening. He's been getting the desired results that he wants. I really would want to see an opportunity where people like Ablai Jallo and Musa Baro and Binte are given the opportunity to express themselves, rather than be restricted where you defend so deep and have allow your opponents to hold onto the ball for so long because it creates serious problems for you because all it takes is one mistake and you're done. But I hope that the coach would look at the talent that we have and employ a more positive approach towards our game. And I believe that that would be an exciting thing for the world of soccer.
Okay. Now, coming to a game against Senegal, a very crucial game indeed, a game that, we can't afford to lose because, it is our first game. Can you just give us an insight into the rivalry, between Gambia and Senegal?
Well, the rivalry is fierce. If you've had a chance to watch Gambia play Senegal,
Yeah.
one thing though that we also need to remind people is I think the only time that we lost badly against Senegal was in 1988, the African Cup of Nations. I think it was played in, I think, Guinea or so. And the team was coached by this Spanish coach who had the team we played against Senegal and they defeated us 4-0. That was the worst defeat ever against Senegal that I can remember. And I know we beat them in the 60s, I think it was 63. This was the team that George Gomez, the late George Gomez, the Bonnie Blancis, and all those people played. We beat them. But then since then, we've not had the luck to beat them. It has always been 1-0 for the most part. That's what it was. But it's a big rivalry. It's like a derby because Senegal and the Gambia, we are so close a people. And of course, you'll have this banter that is going on. So I think that rivalry is why sometimes they defeat us because our people go with it with so much emotion, and the Senegalese always know to how to push our buttons and get us frustrated, and we'll make a mistake and they will score and sit back. So it's going to be a massive rivalry, and I think it's good. And I hope that we will not have a repeat of what happened in 2008, where we equalized and then everything became, very violent. But let it be football banter. We go there, play the game, play our game, not be too emotional about it. Get the results that we get. But of course, it's one of the biggest rivalries that we will have in Africa. When you talk about Senegal, it's just like Ghana Nigeria rivalry.
Yeah.
Senegal, Gambia, the rivalry is massive, and this is why, in spite of the fact that most of the times that we played them, they have played people who are professionals. We played local players, but we've always able to match them to the extent. Of course, they end up winning for the most part 1-0, but because of the rivalry. So, and I hope that that will continue, and people will at least the tide will turn this time on our side, and we will be the one marching, leaving the field with the victory.
But coach, looking at the head-to-head between the two nations, it doesn't tell well. Gambia have never won against Senegal. They drew 11 times, and then Senegal won 14 times. So one might be, very scared. And looking at the caliber of players that they have right now.
Well, you know what? There is always a first, and in fact, that record is wrong. We defeated them in I think 62 or 63.
Okay.
In Senegal itself. So that record is wrong, but we'll accept it. Yes, it is true, and this is why if you go back and check that record, for the most part, the games 1-0. Most of the games, that's how
1-0,
they
yeah.
ended, including the 1980 finals, what was it, Zone 2 finals at the Boxbar Stadium, the 1985 Zone 2 finals at the Boxbar, at the Independence Stadium, and all these other times that we played them, even in Senegal and all that. It has always been 1-0 and all that. But to me, I still have serious hope and confidence that we can defeat them. It's not, listen, it's not been always a dominant performance by Senegal against the Gambia,
Okay.
where you say that they dominated us and beat us badly. That has never been the case. It has always been a fiercely competed game, and they would have a chance and score. So yes, the record is there, but all records are meant to be broken, and I think this would be the start of breaking those records.
Okay. Coach, we also want to look at the financial aspect of it because we know that we're going to the AFCON. There's a lot of preparation that need to be done. We've also seen the World Cup qualifiers, which Gambia is also participating in. Finance is always in a problem. The last time AFCON, I think the government, financed, I would say, the whole part of AFCON. And then we have, companies here in the country, who sit down and fold their hands. What is your advice on that?
Well, I had, because I sat and I'm like, okay, I'm not hearing anything from this guy. So I reached out to both the GFF and the minister and to ask what plans do they have afoot to be able to tackle this. Because we are confronted with two very, very important things here. You have the AFCON, you have the World Cup qualifiers. And I believe that the government, and I want to call on the National Assembly here because of they are the ones who are entrusted with, budgetary issues. Of course, they bring them. They are the ones who approve. Uh, Football or sports has never been given its due in the Gambia. I remember when they created the Ministry of Youth and Sports after the 1992 elections, Boba becoming the first minister. The budget was so low. I think the one was allocated was about $1 million. And I remember the then late Usain Njai, who was then a nominated member in parliament, was talking about the way that they created the ministry and the budget is like, creating it and killing it at the same time. They have never given it its due. So I believe that the government, the GFF, the business community, and all Gambians must all have all hands on deck to be able to raise the necessary funds so that we can compete effectively in these tournaments. And one thing we must appreciate and sometimes do not.
Okay.
Everybody is talking about how divided we are, a country. Tribalism, insults, and all that. The only time that Gambians unite as one around the red, white, blue, white, green is when our national team, the Scorpions, are doing well, or Ginabas, or all these sporting people who are doing very well. So as a result, I think everything must be done to ensure that this enterprise is fully funded so that the boys will be able to go participate in this thing and not having to worry about what their allowances would be or how they're going to get there or whether they're going to have test matches and all that. It is sad that everybody who is participating in this Cup of Nations is now engaged in some test matches or whatever. We are not. And this all as a result of lack of funds. So I want to call on my fellow citizens, businessmen, the President of the Republic, the National Assembly, the all aspects of Gambia, the judiciary, the GFF, you name it, to all come together, raise the necessary funds so that the boys will be fully prepared and so that they will be able to represent us fully.
Are you encouraged with the financial muscle of the Ministry of Youth and Sports and that of the GFF so far?
No, I'm not.
Why?
And I know that even if you look at our last game in Morocco, what the GFF, what their budget was and what government was able to provide was, I think, about less than half of what was asked for. So I think we have to look at this thing because we cannot continue doing this, where we have the boys, they'll go play, sacrifice, qualify us, and then when it comes to the preparatory part of it, we're talking about lack of funds and all that stuff. So I believe that if we take football and give it its due, sports and give it its due, I think we should be able to finance this thing. And there are some countries where the national teams would have a sponsor, a national sponsor, a company that sponsors them. Maybe they are training gears, they would have whatever. I think Senegal is Orange or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
All these businesses that we have in the Gambia, They should be able to do that. They should be able to help in financing or helping finance the national team rather than waiting until they start having success. And then you use that success to advertise your business, talking about, oh, if the Gambia scores this number of goals, we'll give you this number of things, because that's exploitative. So
Yeah,
this is the
exactly.
time now for everybody, irrespective of your political affiliation, irrespective of what you call yourself, to come together and do this thing for our country. If you remember, Care 86, where Senegal qualified 1986 for their first Cup of Nations, even the people who sold Get a South contributed money so that their team would be fully prepared and represent them very well. And I believe we can do that. We tried that the last time where we raised money and all that stuff, but I think we can do more. But we cannot wait until the 11th hour to do it. We are in October going into November. The tournament starts in December. Our next game, I think, is in November. This is the time to act and not wait until the 11th hour and start running around looking for money.
Okay, another aspect I would also want to engage you is regarding, our preparation, having international friendly matches, to prepare ourselves. We know that we've already have, World Cup qualifiers that we're going to play, but we've seen, teams who are participating in the AFCONs, our opponents, are having international friendly matches, and Gambia is not having any.
And that is sad, and that is a disadvantage to us and a disservice to the coach and his coaching staff. Because as a coach, you need to be able to prepare, and the way to prepare is to be able to get your players to play cohesively. Because national teams, they spend the least amount of time together. So at least with these test matches, we are able to bring in new faces. And if you look at the Gambia, we have so many new players playing around the world. But for the coach to see whether they can fit in his system, it's not a matter of just, oh, my God, this Mr. So is very good, let's bring him. No, you have to be able to understand, to know whether that person would fit into your system. And for that to happen, you have to have these matches that you organize, test matches. We could have organized one against Sierra Leone. We could have organized one against Mauritania or Cape Verde and all these other places that are not playing. So that at least you will give the coach the opportunity to test some of these players, his systems. That way, when they come together, they will even have an understanding of what to do. But I believe it is sad that we are in October going into November, not a single test match when there is the international weekend. Everybody knew when the international weekend was coming. So all efforts were supposed to be made to make sure that at least we will have some test match somewhere. Or go to Morocco. Since they give us, their field to use. Let's talk to them and see whether we can have a test match against them. But something needs to happen. But what we are doing, we cannot now go and get poor results and then blame the coach when the coach was not given all the tools necessary to prepare the best way that he should to be able to compete.
Okay, Coach, I know I'm taking much of your time, but before I leave you, I want you to buttress on the issue of fans, ferrying fans, to Ivory Coast. We've had an interview with the minister here, and then he said financially, is, very tough on the side of ministry. It's very expensive. What happened the last time, might not happen fully. They might not be able to fully, feed a lot of fans, in Ivory Coast, especially looking at the media also. Like the last time the media was also ferried, to the Ivory Coast. So what's your take on those issues?
But you see, it is sad. But you see, people should prepare themselves. And preparation also means planning for the unexpected. We went to the AFCON. Everybody knew that this AFCON was coming.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that was supposed to be part of the budget that was presented before the National Assembly and explain to them, hey, A, B, and C is the reason why we need to have this budget so that when it so happens, we'll be able to do A, B, C, D. Because this is where I believe, and I don't want to go political, but maybe the money that was spent to buy cars for the National Assembly members could have been better used to ferry some of our fans to go and support our national team and help them prepare. So we have to prioritize things and see what is important for the country. But sadly, again, like I told you, Most people do not take football seriously. They don't take anything serious, any of these things seriously. But again, the only thing that unites the country peacefully is when our national team plays and does very well. You see the reaction. It doesn't matter who you are. This when nobody cares whether you are UDP or NPP or DOI or you are Mandinka or Jola. No. All people care about is that you are a Gambian. Gambia has done well. So I think it is sad that we may not be able to ferry fans and the media will not be able to cover this. We should have media there that should be able to cover this, giving the coverage a Gambian perspective.
Yeah.
Because if I rely on Senegalese media, Senegal would give me a Senegalese angle. But I would rather
Exactly.
have Gambian media report the matter based on, from a Gambian angle. That would be helpful. But again, I would challenge the ministry. I would challenge the president. He is claimed to be a fan of football. I would challenge the National Assembly. I would challenge the businesses. Whether it is the Mohammed Jazz, whether it is the what these telecom companies and all them, to at least step up to the plate and help to make this happen. Even if you say that, you know what, I am going to pay for 100 fans to go to Ivory Coast to support our national team, you can do that. I think the money is there by people who could better use it to help so that at least we'll have the proper representation that we need. Our boys, there is nothing nicer than seeing our boys on the field and you look up and see the Gambian flag flying all over the place. This is the 21st century. Let's make it happen.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. It is a pleasure, and thanks for all you do. And Gambia, don't be worried. Don't worry. We, the Gambian people, will win. We'll win. Don't worry.
Thank
And
you
so we
very
may
much.
even bring the trophy home. Who knows? Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Aye.
That was Coach SAMBA Jau. We've had, what he said regarding, the team participations, in the AFCON financially, tactically, and all those aspects.
Yes, key things that I've definitely, adore in what he says, or perhaps will pick some points, very relevant issues during his, speech or interview. One is prioritizing football exactly. In this country. Yeah. I mean, I think this have been a key issue that is affecting our sports. We need to prioritize the game, make sure that the game it's given its due, as he rightly mentioned. That is one. The other thing, of course, it's about the monetary issue. Mm-hmm. I mean, when we qualify last African Cup of Nations, at the 11th hour, some companies came out on the media and we are saying, okay, we pledge to give. When the president give out some money, pledge money for the financing of the boys to go and ferry in some funds as well. Other companies, were there pledging money, telling, okay, we are going to give this amount of money, we are going to give this. How many companies came out that night? A lot of companies came out. A lot of thousands and millions came out. I mean, at the end of the day, what shocked me most, I have not seen it anywhere where those monies have been, okay, the monies were released, and okay, these monies were also reported that, okay, this is the financial report of the money.
You're talking about, providing a financial report.
Very well, because if today I give you money, right, as a Gambian, we said we are going to have at least a program that is to finance, pump our monies into the national team and so on. Fine, you finance it and then we've gone. When you come back, the money that were invested, it's you and I, every Gambian's money. We needed to at least have another report saying, okay, the monies that we are giving, this and this, it's just something that will paint a clear picture for people in this country to know that yes, the monies that were at hand, this is what they were used for. It's simple for everyone to say. Next time you go to, even if you go to the farmer or maybe to the vendor there, telling them, okay, Gambia is now playing another African Cup of Nations, and this time, in fact, we are playing our neighbor Senegal. Even the old dads and moms will know, okay, Gambia playing Senegal would be interesting. So we saying $5. If every Gambian paid $5, man, I think that's huge. But it needs to be a campaign that should be well structured. And when it is well structured, then there we go. It wouldn't be a problem. But all comes to the point of what, of course, Coach says, which is prioritizing our game. this beautiful game is not being prioritized in this country. That is key. And the other thing, of course, which he is hiding, but you can see that is, of course, the tactics.
The tactics, yes, of the coach.
Of the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't, I agree with him to say that if you have, test games, yeah, it will help to prepare yourself better. But if you look at the notion of the systems or the type of test games that we have here, it's sometimes more of not in fact having a test game. Because if you have a set of players that you always invite for a test game without giving opportunity to others. Look what Senegal our Senegal is doing. They brought in Napolis Mendy. They brought in other players. You name them, the Ismail Dissar, the Pape Malick Sarr. They brought a lot of players that were, in fact, France would wanted to in fact, give them the opportunity.
To play for France.
Now, what they did, they will have a test game, right? Invite you, give you the plane, at the see if you can fit in the system. Once you're there, then you've played for you've committed those people to play for your country. Then, I mean, the group of people or the pool that you created will be so large that you can pick amongst the best. But if you have that small pool, like, okay, these are the group of players that qualify us. And we are going to, of course, stay with this group of players. And we are going to go with them. Sometimes that's not how sports work. It needs to, like, work on merit base. We are all Gambians. The national team belongs to every Gambian player who is doing extremely well, playing week in, week out. But some players, with all due respect, we know that they won't have clubs. Maybe they are not playing regularly. You see players who are playing regularly, they don't have clubs. But because we are part of the project that qualifies the Gambia, automatically you are there. So these are some of the things also that we need to work on and say, okay, we want to give Bambalais, we want to give Yankuba Mintes, they are upcoming. We in fact would have also engaged the Lamin Jajus and so name all these young players. Some people playing in the championship and so on and so forth. We can name them. Give them the opportunity, make it a larger pool, a bigger pool, where we can have much more easy to select amongst the blood pool. The competitive in the camp will also be exploited, because you know that if Musa know that, yes, if I didn't play very well, if I didn't work hard on the national jersey, of course, you know, Yankuba is coming, this guy is coming, this guy is coming, I might fight for my place. So Musa will definitely work extra harder. Then the other thing that we also need to work on, I mean, it's football, we all accept it, but it's African football again. Giving too much respect to your opponents sometimes costs us a lot. Yeah,
I believe we will come to that, all right? A lot of people are sending their comments also on our Facebook. You've seen Kebandao says, I know for a fact a lot of businesses, you know, are willing to support the national team, but they don't just trust the corrupt GFF. The ministry should set up an independent board responsible for funds, you know, and donation. You know, that's the voice of, you know, Kebandao. Well, no matter what, you know, I think business owners, you know, should come on board, all right? Because there's nowhere where, you know, where we should say, okay, GFF is corrupt. If you want to do it for your nation, if you want to do it, you know, for your country, you have to come on board and participate and play, you know, and I believe that's the main reason why Monday Night Football will start a new initiative. The initiative will be to commit, you know, business owners, you know, invite them on our platform on Monday Night Football. There will be a segment we call Road to AFCON, all right, where we invite business owners, you know, they come, you know, talk about their reaction regarding, you know, the groups, you know, in which Gambia is participating in, and then us, you know, telling them to pledge for something, you know, that at least, you know, the GFF and the Ministry of Youth and Sports, you know, would use to, you know, at least add up to the money, you know, that they're budgeting.
Yeah, I think that is really key, Mr. Kamara, you know, committing people up. This is the angle that I will come up and pick it from where Coach left it is, you know, people planning as well. Now, if you looked at Senegalese media, for example, let me take it that angle, because he's mentioned a very, very important point, that if Senegalese media goes to cover a game between Gambia and Senegal, they will definitely look at an angle that is more favorable for Senegal. Yeah. Right? And if a Gambian media, of course, went to cover the Gambia, also will look at an angle that you think you could cover for the Gambia. So therefore, we should not also fully rely on, you know, the GFF or the ministry to ferry journalists to cover games. It's high time, as Senegal is doing. We've been to Senegal, Dakar, we've interacted with most of their sport journalists, you know, annually. I mean, what happened is, like, their companies, their institutions try by all means to convince and lobby and make sure that they ferry some of the, even if it is 2, 3, 4 journalists in an institution, maybe that will be, if not higher, but at least a journalist or 2, at least to go and cover. That will ease up and again helps to develop the nation, because this I've been saying, we cannot develop any sports without the media. It's paramount, and you cannot go without it. So if the media also is there as a watchdog, because certain things will happen. A typical example was when, of course, Steve Trawale left the camp. Because much reports and fact news couldn't come exactly, that is breaking news, couldn't come at that spot, because most of the journalists that were ferried to Cameroon were ferried by the FF or the ministry. So automatically you have restrictions.
So you can't buy the hand that fits you.
Ajaram.
Okay, all right. You can't buy the hand that fits you. Let's just give you a report, a rundown, of course, of how Gambia make it to the AFCON in Ivory Coast with Omar Joe.
The Gambia's 2023 AFCON Championship Group Stage opponents. The road to the 2023 AFCON Championship present a challenging journey for the Gambia as they find themselves placed in Group C alongside formidable rivals Senegal, Cameroon and Guinea-Conakry. Each of these teams have a unique history and competitive spirit, making Group C a true test of skills and determination. The history between these teams adds an extra layer of intrigue to the championship. In the previous tournament, Cameroon ended the Gambia's journey, a memory that fuels the desire for redemption. Scorpions defeated Guinea-Conakry by a goal to nil in their round of 16 knockout played at the Stade Omnisport. Senegal, as a regional neighbor and often present formidable challenge, and the anticipation of this encounter is always high, but minds will always reflect back in Dakar when angry Senegalese fans attacked the country's soccer federation headquarters, smashing windows after the national team was eliminated from qualifiers for the 2010 World Cup by drawing 1-1 with Gambia. After the draw, which also eliminated the Teranga Lions from the next African Cup of Nations, furious supporters set up burning barricades around the stadium and clashed with riot police who fired tear gas and charged them with batons. The mood turned ugly when Gambia Scorpion equalized. Fans started tearing down publicity billboards and fencing and throw stones, sticks, bottles, metal bars and debris onto the pitch. Baden-Walden police tried to restore order. The Senegalese supporters head-to-head analysis between Gambia and Senegal from 1980 to 2015 in preparation for AFCON 2024. The rival between Gambia and Senegal in international football has a long history dating back to 1980 as the two nations geared up to face each other in the upcoming AFCON. The Gambia's historical journey from AFCON 2021 to AFCON 2023. The Gambia's national football team, the Scorpions, made history in the 2021 African Cup of Nations AFCON held in Cameroon, providing their mettle as the lowest ranked team in the tournament. Their remarkable journey included a debut victory, surpassing the football world with their resilience and determination. Building upon this success, the Gambia has once again qualified for the AFCON 2023 in Ivory Coast, igniting hopes for a continued impressive performance. AFCON 2021, a remarkable debut in AFCON 2021, the Gambia faced the unique challenge of the being lowest ranked team in the tournament, marking them the underdogs. Despite these odds, they kicked off their campaign with a 1-0 victory over Mauritania, marking an unforgettable debut. Their second match ended in a 1-1 draw against Mali, further demonstrating their competitiveness. Gambia secured a spot in the round of 16 with a game to spare and in a dramatical turn of events, defeated Tunisia by a goal to nil in their final group match. However, they faced a tearbreaker with Mali for the spot in the group, which Mali won due to a superior overall goal difference. Despite this setback, the Gambia had already achieved a significant feat by progressing to the knockout stage. Impressive run in the knockout stage. The Gambia continued to impress in the round of 16 as they defeated Guinea by a goal to nil, extending their historical journey in the tournament. The quarterfinal match against host nation Cameroon was eagerly anticipated. Although they put up a brave fight, the Gambia was defeated by 2-0, ending their AFCON 2021 campaign in the quarterfinals. AFCON 2023 renewed hope with their inspiring performance in 2021. The Gambia's qualification for the 2023 AFCON in Ivory Coast is met with a great anticipation. The Scorpions demonstrated their resilience and skills, and fans eagerly anticipate the team's return to continental stage. The Gambia's journey in the 2021 AFCON was historic and inspirational. As the lowest-ranked team in the tournament, they showcased their determination and talent, making the nation proud. The qualification for the 2023 AFCON in Ivory Coast raises expectation for another remarkable performance. The Gambia's national team, the Scorpions, has demonstrated that with teamwork, determination and dedication, they can compete at the highest level of African football, and fans are hopeful that their remarkable journey will continue in the upcoming tournament.
That was Gambia, road to the AFCON, which was marvelous, very entertaining. You can see the determination, you can see the commitment, that the Gambian players, have, in, making it, back to back to the AFCON. But we also have a report, on the group, stages, because we've all watched, the CAF, grouping, and then Gambia, of course, were put in, the group of death. All right. More reports, with Omar Job.
The Gambia's 2023 AFCON Championship Group Stage opponents. The road to the 2023 AFCON Championship present a challenging journey for the Gambia as they find themselves placed in Group C alongside formidable rivals Senegal, Cameroon and Guinea-Conakry. Each of these teams have a unique history and competitive spirit, making Group C a true test of skills and determination. The history between these teams adds an extra layer of intrigue to the championship. In the previous tournament, Cameroon ended the Gambia's journey, a memory that fuels the desire for redemption. Scorpions defeated Guinea-Conakry by a goal to nil in their round of 16 knockout played at the Stade Omnisport. Senegal, as a regional neighbor and often present formidable challenge, and the anticipation of this encounter is always high, but minds will always reflect back in Dakar when angry Senegalese fans attacked the country's soccer federation headquarters, smashing windows after the national team was eliminated from qualifiers for the 2010 World Cup by drawing 1-1 with Gambia. After the draw, which also eliminated the Teranga Lions from the next African Cup of Nations, furious supporters set up burning barricades around the stadium and clashed with riot police who fired tear gas and charged them with batons. The mood turned ugly when Gambia Scorpion equalized. Fans started tearing down publicity billboards and fencing and throw stones, sticks, bottles, metal bars and debris onto the pitch. Baden-Walden police tried to restore order. The Senegalese supporters then blocked a major highway outside the stadium with burning tires, rubbish and rocks, and black smoke filled the sky. As the championship approaches, fans and pundits alike are eager to gauge the Gambia's chances in this challenging group. The outcome will undoubtedly depend on various factors including team preparation, strategy and performance on the field. It is the game of Titan, the Gambia Scorpion versus the Teranga Lions of Senegal. Whenever the senior national football teams of the Gambia, known as the Scorpion and Senegal famous refers to as the Teranga Lions, face off, it's not just a game, it's a fans derby match that captures the hearts of fans on both sides of the border. This intense rivalry, often dubbed the Battle of the Lions, has a rich history filled with memorable moments and epic showdown. The Scorpions and the Teranga Lions share a strong footballing heritage, and their encounters are eagerly anticipated by fans and followers of African football. When these two teams take to the pitch, it's more than just a match, it's a clash of titans, a display of skills, determination and pride. The atmosphere is electric and the stakes are high as both teams vie for victory and regional bragging rights. The Scorpions and the Teranga Lions have created unforgettable moments on the football field, making this rivalry one of the most exciting and fiercely contested in African football. As the derby approaches, fans on both sides eagerly wait the battle, knowing that it's not just a game, it's a chance for their team to sign and assert dominance in the thrilling footballing rivalry. With determination, hard work and strategy planning, the Gambia aims to face these rivals head-on and make a significant impact in this 2023 AFCON Championship. The stage is set, an exciting and competitive tournament where only the strongest will prevail.
Important, one of the most entertaining, game, Gambia, taking on Senegal, their first game. We've seen, it already started, the fancy fair, regarding this game. But according to Aziz Kaur Nyang, Aziz Kaur says it's going to be a very hard group for us. Our game against Guinea is going to be the hardest game in the group. Well, yeah. Somebody also chose Guinea because he said Guinea were very hot the last time. Gambia beat them. In Cameroon, and then Guinea will come prepared. Guinea will not want a repeat. Of what happened in Cameroon. Yeah, I think
the Gambia's 2023 AFCON Championship.
As we can in fact hear from the gaffer of Guinea. He cannot hide the feelings, saying that, they're coming back, they have tested, of course, the Gambia, and they're not going to underrate anyone. Meaning, indirectly, like, when they were playing initially against the Gambia, it was like, Gambia, this is their debut, and we've all seen the way they're playing. We can go and defeat them. We have, we have more experience than them and so on. So Gambia shocked them. So this is a big shock, and they want to definitely come back and rectify that mistake. So I think it will be a very, very difficult game. In the second encounter, of course, after whatever we might display against Senegal. But whatever the case is, our game against Senegal will determine how we can go far in this tournament. Because even if Guinea is difficult.
Yeah, I know that it's going to be a keenly watched game. Both from the Cameroonian side and of course together with the Guinean side. They will be looking at how Gambia is going to play against Senegal, and how Senegal will try to unlock the defense, of Coach Tom, because we all know Coach Tom is someone who is very defensive minded. We've seen the tactics that he played, which really helped him, to reach this magnitude. We cannot write him off, just because of tactics. Because of his tactics, he achieved what he has achieved right now. But now, it's left to see whether our opponents can unlock the defensive tactics that Coach Tom is using against his opponents.
Yeah, I think additionally is having now some weapons, because if you play in certain tactics, you need some materials. And those materials will be, of course, your defense line should be very formidable and they shouldn't move out, The other thing is, of course, having a solid two holding midfielders and one creative one who can always disseminate the ball at a very, very fast. At the blink of an eye, you can always disseminate, at least to go to the final third of your opponent. So when this happens in football, most of the time you need to have strikers who are very fast and agile. You need to have your your flank players, of course, also to be always on the spot to cover up with high speed, and then when they go chase the ball, they can also retrieve and come back and rest into our own halves. Now we are seeing the likes of course, Yankuba Minte, who is a very dicey player. When you play him the ball for the first time, he can hold on the ball to allow, of course, the team to attack their opponents at the final third of it. So I think with Tom's tactics, it's going to be very, very interesting for the nations now, especially Guinea. Guinea would be, as you rightly said, would be watching to see how Senegal will deal with Gambia. And of course, the Cameroonians as well, they have tested that, because the first half, it was definitely very difficult for them in the, despite the fact that they have tested that. But second half, they came and were able to unlock. Now, it's again another, do we have to still stick to give Cameroon the maximum respect that we give Cameroon in Cameroon? Or do we still have to, go with that, sort of attacking football and see what they have at their back line? Because we've seen them recently in their test game. They've been committing a lot of mistakes at the back. Yeah. So it's up to Tom. But again, as I said, Mr. Kamara, the crucial game that will determine everything comes back again to within the neighbors. And it is more than just a derby game, because if you look at Nigeria, Ghana, we might say they are borders, they share borders, but in the other way, they didn't share a border. But Gambia didn't share a border with any other country, apart from Senegal. Yeah. So before the game, even you look at the under 20, we saw, in fact, before the game, Gambia, Senegal, on the social media here and there, that hype alone is more than a game. it is definitely a game of titans, as Omar rightly said. It is a game that will definitely, showcase a lot of interest, and that will cause a lot of interest, around, of course, the Senegambian region. And, looking at the history, Gambia, Senegal, we all want, so we all want people and so on.
Yeah,
but when it comes to football,
but also looking at the history, I tend to agree with Aziz Kaur here, Aziz Kaur Jr. here, in which he said that most of the Senegalese players are not from Senegal. Some of them, don't know the history, between the two countries. They don't know the rivalry. They don't know the derby, that goes, between these two nations. But while looking at the Gambian side, these players, they know, what is it to face, Senegal in such situations.
Yes, I may tend to agree with him, but again, said one thing about the Senegalese, their media is very powerful.
For some.
And they have great historians. Before the game, you always see their preparations.
Yeah.
They will ferry, of course, most of their journalists to meet these players, right? At their clubs, rather, have an interview with them. What they try to do always is to, of course, instill certain, measures of, rivalry between, when it comes to, the Gambia and Senegal, to know that, yes, these two nations, they close borders, they rivalry in sports or in football, and they can sell out the idea to them at a faster place. This might be one factor that we shouldn't concentrate that much, because they are very good at disseminating information and letting their people who are not from Senegal to know. If you look at, if you go little out of maybe sports and see like the likes of Akon and so on, when he came in, at a very, very fast time, you can see a lot of things that he was able to accumulate, the culture and everything in Senegal. So that point, Mr. Camara, is a point that we can rely on, but not fully, because they can definitely tackle that at a very fast rate. I tend to believe that their media and the people around them, now they've started talking, you tune to their TV station, or go to their, media social media handles everywhere, they're talking about Gambia and Senegal. And those people now, being invited and wearing the Senegalese jersey, are also watching. They're also part of the media houses. They're fully involved now. They tend to learn everything about it. So basically, they might not be deep-rooted about the rivalry and culture between Gambia and Senegal, but at least Senegalese authority or media and other personals can do more than that.
Yeah, of course. Star TV, by Camara and Paul also went out, to sound the opinions of Gambians regarding the game between, Gambia and Senegal, but much so regarding the whole group that is, Gambia, Senegal, Cameroon, and then that is Guinea. Let's just watch the reaction of Gambians towards the group of death.
Right now, so ko Gambia dañ ew ci game bi légui so game bo mom du yomba té su soobé yalla mom Gambia dafa win inshallah.
Comme xamna né dal Gambia dal dañu def suñu katan ak katan dal comme xamna né dal boys yi they can do well ñepp xam nañ né boys yi comme am nañ experience when come to AFCON bi dégala bi mo nekk suñu second time to compete AFCON so comme draw bi dal suñu team bi dal suñu group stage bi dal xamna né dal Gambia no matter what sa fo hanga dañu def dara fofu non tamit bi am nañ yaakar ci boy yi am nga dégala groupe bi dafa tanga waye we are 100% sure nak ñun will going to qualify for that group Sénégal tamit ragal ñu Sénégal dal comme dégala wax yu bari na waye dal Gambia ni dal ñun boys yi dal ñun 100% behind of them and our support also behind of them inshallah.
ci jangal moy sport la rek xam nga réalité football mom lon la xam nga comme ñom bolé wuñ seen bop dañ neena bolé kon légui pexé amul légui nan ko jéma tek ci sport rek xamné sport mo leen bolé yombul nak because xayna pool bobu mom metti na ci ñëpp because fu Cameroun ne Guinée ne fa Gambie Sénégal nekkul pool bu yomb football nak légui mo démé no xamné mom kenn mënatul wax 100% ni ma man team bi 100% lool légui amul ci football waaw ku nekk nak trial nga def li nga wara def rek ifin Sénégal moy favorite ba teewul tamit ni ci dess na leen jox seen àq rek because ku nekk da ngay wut 3 points ci sa morom rek ku nekk nga xool naga ngay def ba am 3 points bi sa morom waaye nag lépp ñu teg ko ci fair play rek ñu football ko xam ne football moo leen boole su match bi jeexee tamit ñu ñoo nekkaatu guerre kon ñu fexe daal ba bu football bi mu boole ñu tam bañ ñu xaajale yàlla na Sénégal dóor Gambie nag waaye nag na nekk lu yam rek bu mu ko dóor lu bari daal ay 2-0 rek baax na 2-0 rek baax na.
ah lu ma si jàng daal mooy poule bi daal métti na trop yee poule bu tàngala sax waaye maa ngi ene Gambia ke ñu jaala ak jàmm.
ma may jël force si poule bi boobu bul wax dara Diallo Diayla Massi.
ñan nga foog ñooy jël force si poule.
non damaa jël force Guinée dafaa jël force boobu mooy force.
di nga mën a tasewaat ak Gambia wala Sénégal wala Cameroun.
gannaaw boobu noonu. mun naa nekk de boobu moom mun naa nekk xaw ma mais mun na nekk na. mais si poule bi nag damaa jël force. non Gambia mooy jël second loolu ñun ñaar moo de romba Sénégal Cameroun toog nañ.
Serif Ba.
yeah
Serif diggante Gambia ak Guinée ñan nga.
damaa win Gambia.
da nga win Gambia.
yeah.
ci poule bi ñan kan ak kan nga foog mooy jàll.
Guinée ak Gambia.
Guinée ak Gambia.
yeah.
like balaa draw bi may dégg som Gambian fans yi ngeen wane dañ bëgg ñu bokk Sénégal pool so depuis ma dugg internet ma gis ne dañ bokk Sénégal pool ma ne lu ñu doon ñaan moom am na so maybe bi this time boss yi dinañ gën a am jom xam nga ñu mën a play daal pour groupe stage bi because groupe boobu moo nga naa tàng si groupe yi yëpp soo ko xoolee Sénégal Gambia Guinée ak I don't know Cameroon not so groupe boobu dafa over tàng so xam naa booy dinañ am jom dëgg pour mun a am force wala seconde si groupe bi.
non fi mu nekk nii mënuloo demal kenn ndax football léegi dëkkul fenn fi mu nekk nii football moom win and lose la rek. win and lose la rek.
Gambia ni Sénégal yi famata bennale a metale kabri safo Elas Diouf ñol la wato so yaje tariko kono to nyalem Sénégal le ke kutu Gambia la bari sainteng footballo ñi nganna boy sol la footballo je ñame nga hope soto le 100% ko ici Sénégal lipano.
Sénégal, Guinée, Gambie.
Ouais, c'est la Guinée qui gagne.
Oui.
Ouais, c'est la Guinée qui gagne.
Guinée, Gambie, Coupe Afrique.
Oui, c'est la Guinée qui gagne. C'est la Guinée qui a la meilleure équipe.
Guinée, hein?
Oui.
Merci.
waaw lu ma si jàngat mooy pour boo xam ne pour bu métti la si wàllu football soo xool si football dafa métti soo xool tamit si beneen boor tamit soo waxee Sénégal Gambia ak Guinée Conakry benn people la benn culture la te dañ xam ne dugalante te soit sport nag moo de mën a boole mu nekk loo xam ne tamit lu métti la kon loolu soo waxee sayte sport bi métti na waaye tamit sayte ñun tamit ñu ne tamit ñu doon dundee fii ñu ne tamit métti na ay nébos leen boole soo waxee dëkk yooyu yëpp benn almost te almost dafa mel ni group of death bu noo wax nekk na sayte football waaye tamit nekk na si sayte ñun ñu doon dundee ñu leen bool.
waaw Gambie léegi moom dafa change ute na ak time boobu waaye léegi moom man moom aw ma si tout moyen sax waaw so xam naa nag suñu mbokk yi nag anyway rivals leen tan noonu la war a demee jongante bi dafa war a sax waaye Gambie incha allah dafay win Sénégal tout not waaw nit ñi xam ne Gambie ak Sénégal ñoo bokk ndey ak baay waaw ñun ñëpp benn leen parce que sénégalais yaa ngi fi Gambien si ñu ngi Sénégal ñun ñëpp benn wolof bi la benn soose bi la benn saraxule bi la lii game la rek pour happiness la rek so ñëpp a ngi yàkkam sax lii jot pour tooñante bi am kap bi ree xanaa nit ñu bon yi ñu bàyyi leen xel rek ñu bëri façon yi lañ dee yàkkam ci ñoom pour problème am si waaye benn problème du si am jàmm rek a si am incha allah.
waaw Sénégal ak Gambie moom ay doomu ndey lañ ñoo far ñoo bokk lépp waaw kon nañ ci dem fair play rek te xam ne kilomètre gañ bu fi gañee baax na bu fi gañee baax na mais nag buñ sañoon nag foofu lay demee Sénégal waaw xam nga rek buñ sañoon Sénégal nag dóor.
mais Sénégal moom Gambie war du woon a dal ci moom Gambie laa dee support waaye Sénégal moo leen man équipe bi Sénégal mooy favori.
lan ngay waare pour mbokk askan bi ñuy seetaan game bi bu jeexee pour ñu bañ a def loo xam ne.
waaw surtout fii Serekunda gars yi bañ a kii rek bañ a problème beeg yooyu xam nga Gambien yi ak Sénégal yi dañ am problème moo tax.
Pro bi daal anyway daal tough draw la nag suma gis-gis daal waaye naa jàpp ne Gambia we are underdogs because soo gisee ne football da ngaa bañ la waaye ki nga mun da ngaa gis ne kii dëgg daf la dee woon waaye xam nga game la waaye ñun ñëpp xam nañ ne chaque final football si waaye lu feya Guinée Conakry Sénégal ak Cameroun ñu nekk suñu kaw te feyal waaye football jamono daf doy wécci suñu doy jóg ees na defe na li gaa ngi perform trop mën nañoo make a surprise waaye nañ seet daal nañ ñaanal gars tamit maa ngi leen di ñaanal yàlla na yàlla jàppale ñu waaye maa ngi xóob ne Gambia digga si kaw si kanam rek nañ ji
bon kono yiɗi ɗo ko garay ballon no metti ɓande quoi sago meɗen enen ɗo fof en qualifié no mais ɓe ƴettiɓe hawdidiri en bon il faut en trottoir yalla okon tum victoire haray en tangini vraiment il faut ko qualifier min ko mi Guinée njo mais ko Gambie mi woni mi hidata Gambie buri Guinée mi hidata kadi Guinée buri kam mi wonno bon haray mi do tori yalla il faut be qualifier ore jamma.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very interesting, random opinions, of Gambians. They have mixed feelings regarding, the group, and then even, Gambia versus Senegal, Gambia versus, Guinea. We've seen the reaction of fans, from both ends, from the Guineans, from the Senegalese, also, together with the Gambians. But we've also seen that is Babel Mansa Jr. say Tom should look to strengthen the squad, because I think we need a striker like Bakary Jatta of Hamburg and a good defensive midfielder to compete with. We've seen that. He also said, I said it and I will say it again, that Senegal are not more talented than the Gambia. They just have the fighting spirit that the Gambia can fight back from toe to toe. I predict our first game to be a draw.
Wow, well, I think that is definitely so much rational. Even he's trying to be so much rational in what how he's not been like so much being a supporter, but he's on his opinion. That is very, very true, Mr. Kamara. Getting the materials, if you want to compete the best, you have to also try and get the best.
Yeah.
Senegal, of course, right now, when we looked at the ranking, they are far ahead of us.
Yeah.
And again, looking at, as I said earlier on, how they prioritize, of course, sports. It's just not comparable to the Gambia, because the amount of money that they invest, the investment part alone tells you a lot that Senegal they mean business. This is why the pool of players that they have. Look at the last game before this one, last group game. Almost 2 teams participated within a week, played within a week, because the last game, the teams that played, most of them were the under 20. That they graduate, and later part the senior team had also their test game at home. So had a game at home playing. So this tells you that now they're trying to engage. In fact, a pathway that they have already created. Gambia's pathway is this. You have the school sports coming down now to this under, and it goes on. But if you look at it now, the pyramid, where we need to get this pool of players, if the bottom line, that is of course the modified football, it's not been so much concentrated on. Most of the time, you look at the pyramid get narrower at top, that is at the professional level.
Yeah.
This is why if you look at the professional level now, the pyramid is a little bit wider because of that modified football that we're playing in the country, like the first division, second division, coming to the zonals and so on and so forth. Now, through that, on the school football now, we look at the very good example would be Yankuma Minte. Just a few years back, he was playing for school sport, secondary school sport.
Yeah.
Today, where he is playing for the national team.
Would it be very vital, very important for the GFF to focus more on school football, inject money, on school football, so that at least, we can get more talent like Minte?
I mean, why would you think America? Coach will maybe be a witness. Like America's colleges are now giving out scholarships to talented players because they know like the best way to disseminate information is via the school. And Gambia here, we are very lucky that there's a policy that says that basic education for every Gambian child. Now schools are all over. Yeah. Almost, if you looked at it, the number of students that we'll have in this country and number of players and students that do play football or do any other sports is really huge. Yeah. So it's easy you use the school's football to, make sure that that is, of course, the involvement, that stage. It's really high. Once the involvement is there, even if you're losing out, at leagues, you'll have to get other modified, amongst them to graduate to the modified football and then to the competitions. Then you would have a larger pool, because if the pool is narrower, we have little chances. That is why what, of course, that the guy who commented, of course, said is very right. We need other players that will deputize. That you always have to say, okay, this game you did not do well, we can bring in.
Yeah, but we've not been seeing, fans complain of the selection recently. There was a time that fans would normally, complain, of selection, that the coach made, but this time around, especially looking at our last, game, we haven't had, problems regarding, players so and so didn't feature in the game.
Very well. I think that you complain, or fans are fans. Some normally they always have their opinion and they are always right. You always have to allow them to, of course, make complaints. But at the end of the day, it comes back to the coach to do the work. It comes back, of course, to the team manager and, of course, the federation to make sure that they've selected the right people to come and represent the country. But fans have not been complaining because results were coming. We expect with the team, because if you looked at it, it was like, pray for the Gambia. The last, selection that was done when Gambia was to play Congo, all the comments you might say is, let's pray to have, to qualify. That was the most important thing. We all have to come together to make sure we qualified against, and we beat Congo, or perhaps draw against Congo, and we qualified. That was what most of the fans were talking about. But now coming back to the tournament proper, of course, we almost mid of we mid of October. We're talking of November, December. December is a busy schedule. We all know that most companies perhaps will try and go for their financial reporting and everything. We all know. Man, the moment you come New Year's, we're talking about meeting Senegal. Preparation would be at high GS. And of course, that is why it is important now. It would have been very, very, very helpful if the Gambia is able to get a test game, or perhaps any kind of test game, and invite other pool of players.
Not any kind of test game.
No, I mean, let it be a test game. Yeah, let me just clarify that. That is kind of test game would be like a team that would give you a test.
Yeah.
Not like a test that you go to Sarebojo and have a test game there. But I'm saying a test game that will give you the real test per se. Let me just rectify that. I mean, and then get other pool of players that have not been called, at least to, I'm not saying many, but at least few departments. Yeah. Try to, strengthen those departments and see whether those people will fit in the system, and so at least to make it bigger. And then, try and get those people who are not actively playing week in, week out in their club, because we have some players in the mix of the team that are not playing week in, week out. And obviously, definitely they will be very, very much instrumental for the Gambia if they are fit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've seen Abdou Manka said, well, Senegal and Cameroon have more quality players, than the Gambia, but I believe that our Scorpions, they will fight to the end, and inshallah, Allah will be on our side.
Amen. We hope that, against Senegal, we are on top. As I said, and I will reiterate, it is the most important game as far as this tournament is concerned. We also need to prove a point, not only in the tournament, but again, to set up a record, beating the champions. It's always beautiful. Beating your neighbor, Gambia beating Senegal.
If Senegal can do it, beating France, all right, for the first time in a World Cup game, their first game, we should have the belief, that Gambia can do it.
Very well.
Beat them on our first game in an AFCON, and then send the country into wild atmosphere.
I think that would be boom, of course. Yeah. And it's imagine, if you imagine Gambia now beating Senegal in the first group game, how the atmosphere in the Gambia would be. Of course, how that will also impact the performance of the boys in the subsequent games. Mm-hmm. So this is why it will be, as I said, would be the best or the most important game for us, both on and off the pitch, because Gambians are anticipating that, yes, we have to beat Senegal. We have to show them that, yes, we are here. The football, we have a pool of players that could always surprise you, that could also shock you as well. So it's important for Gambia, definitely to edge past Senegal, no matter what. Even if it's a goal margin of 1, or maybe a penalty, or even if it has half goal, we will appreciate that.
Yeah, but our opponent also Guinea Conakry. We've seen, if you go to TikTok, when Gambia defeated, Guinea Conakry. We've seen the reaction of the fans, and someone was saying, Gambi. They never expected that, small Gambia, would be able to, beat Guinea Conakry. And I believe that they would come, more prepared, knowing the caliber of players that Gambia have, knowing the potential of the coach also, and then knowing the tactics that we played. But I know, Coach Tom will also study them, knowing that he beaten them, and then he would like to repeat the same feat against, the Guineans.
Very well. I think these three countries, it's very interesting because looking at Guinea, they have border with Senegal. Senegal have, of course, they have borders with Gambia. So you looked at the number of, in fact, Guineans in the country. It's really huge. Now, when we defeated them, of course.
I only hope they will be bread, right?
I think we're going to see if the series can provide us bread that day. If we will beat them, because their first defeat was a shock, and this one, this time around, I think they will be much prepared. As Kamara, during his interview after the draw, he made it categorically clear that they will be much prepared, and of course they are ready, and they will not underrate anyone.
Will that not be our toughest game? As I said, our toughest game against Guinea-Conakry. They already won one us, to defeat them.
They are hot
again.
already. Yeah. They're already hot. Yeah. They're already hot by the Gambians, and wouldn't want to be hot for the second time. But I don't think it would be the hottest game for the Gambia. I know it will be tense because Guinea wouldn't want to let it go. Gambia also would definitely want to, if any results that come out against Senegal, they want to also prove something. And if they, for example, win the Senegal, they want only to perhaps to draw and then qualify. They will need a point to qualify, or win and top the group perhaps, or in fact win and sit comfortably in that group. Again, if it goes the other way around, it will be very difficult for the Gambia because knowing that Guinea is hot already, they played against the Gambia. We are the underdogs. With all due respect to us. What do you need to do? All the three nations will want to collect maximum points on us. Yeah, so this is why it will be very, very difficult. It's every game there, especially these three nations: Gambia, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea. They are the games that will be much more tougher in the league. But I will tip always Senegal because off the pitch, what it always brings, between Gambia and Senegal. I mean, coming to again Gambia and Guinea, it's something that we've already hurt them. And I want to believe that you hurt somebody, want to come back and forcefully want to revenge, sometimes you can always suppress them and then hurt them again. So it's just a matter of taking our time, playing the right mechanisms and put it in the right personnel to give us what we need.
All right, time is against us. Thank you very much for coming on Monday Night Football. We miss Ibrahima Campo Jata together with Mbaikor. We might have them in our next, program right here on Monday. Thank you very much. Your final words to the fans.
Yes, I would say thank you so very much for watching and being with us. It was, of course, Monday Night Sports, as it comes on your way every Monday, and it's a show that we love so much, Mr. Kamara. Was talking about what we love talking about, that's sports. And Gambia, please continue praying. Please continue contributing immensely and positively towards of course, the African Cup of Nations. It is there. It is just at the corner. So the countdown begins. Let's work together. Let's harmonize and make sure that the Gambia had a successful second appearance at the African Cup of Nations. Bye from me till Monday.
All right, thank you very much. That was Europe. So right here with us on Monday Night Football. We also thank Coach SAMBA who joined us in the beginning, of the program to talk about his reaction, and also give us an insight, into the Gambia and Senegal game, because, it's a very, very big library. We also say a big thank you to our followers on the Facebook and those who are sitting at the comfort of their zone, in their houses watching the Monday Night Football. We also thank, the technical crew headed by Bas right here on Star TV. Sarah and team, say bye to all of you there. Keep on supporting. We'll be back. That's going to be next Monday. It's bye from us. Good night.